Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be looking at the mid Razor of Marlene. This is the mid player for Team Falcons. They've been owning the recent Bet Boom Dota tournament, and so I thought I'd make an analysis of his match, kind of teach you guys about Razor, especially Razor in the mid lane, and what you can do on this hero, because honestly what he does is really cool. He plays a very high tempo Razor. Razor, from my understanding, was mostly this kind of like flash farm heavy, mid game, sort of hit timing hero. But Marlene makes this hero look like Pangolier, right? And I'm not just saying that, so let's get into it. Let's take a look. Alright, before we get into the main part of the video, I do want to let you guys know that I'm not only posting videos here on YouTube, I also frequently post videos on the website. If you don't know what I'm talking about, almost every single day I'm posting a new video to the Game League website. We're going to teach you guys in depth about how to get to the next level. So if you want to become absolutely broken, click the link down below and sign up. And in this match, in the laning stage, right, or in the game, it doesn't even look like that good of a Razor game. I feel like Naga's pretty decent against Razor, the illusions are pretty good against Razor, and the kiting is very good. Song against BKB. You have Zeus, Heavenly Jump, counters Link, and long range poke forces Razor's BKB. And then finally, I feel like Dragonite is just fine, right? He has armor from his E, and then Mage Slayer in the early game is pretty nice. So yeah, let's see how he makes this hero look so broken, because he goes like 15-1. Which is ridiculous in a 31-minute game against what is like heroes that are pretty good against Razor. So, okay, in the laning stage, I only really have two things to say that I thought were kind of interesting. Number one, first wave, I like how he uses Link. Level 1, Zeus doesn't obviously have Heavenly Jump, he has his Q. And so gets the Link onto the Zeus, steals about 20 damage, right? And that's more than enough, because a 20 damage is essentially 40 damage, right? Because the Zeus loses the damage, and he forces Zeus to use literally 4 Qs to last hit. Which is good, right? From the Zeus, he should do that. Marlene gets really low from it. This is why Zeus is a Razor counter. He can actually CS even against Link. So Zeus is one of the best heroes against Razor in lane, and even gets a deny there. So obviously a good start from the Zeus. Not the best from Marlene, but I like the Link timing. Kind of hit the range creep twice, bait them to step up a bit, then go for the Link. And against any other hero, it would have resulted in many CS and many denies. The next thing I found interesting was this stack here. So after the 2-minute wave, the 2:30 wave comes in here at 2:46, and instead of actually playing the first creep, he decides to go stack, which is something I never see anymore, right? I feel like no one does this, and I wouldn't expect that on a Razor because it's not bad stack farmer, but it's not the best. And so, yeah, it was just really interesting to see him prioritize that, sacrifice a bit of net worth in the short term for potentially, you know, a better later timing or more neutral items, right? Which I've really been trying to stress to you guys. Neutral items are broken. If you can get your team multiple neutral items at minute 7 to minute 8, you are giving your team a huge advantage. And I can't stress that enough. I really think people will begin to think more and more about this as time goes on, because I think a lot of people see neutral items as a given when they're just not a given. Another thing that happened was that at minute 5, he goes back to base. He was completely out of mana. The Zeus was honestly doing very well against him. You can see he's losing CS pretty hard, which once again is not too surprising. It's not that this is unplayable for Razor. Razor has very few unplayable matchups, if any, but it's not one of the favorable ones. But eventually he's able to kind of come back into the game. Does get gone on mid here, but he's okay. Walks it off. He's all right. He's chilling. And now eventually he will go and take the stack. And I will say the only time I really want to flame him this game is exactly what he does here. He farms the stack at minute 640. I would have loved to see him stack it one more time. Get that triple stack and then farm it on the next minute. Because then, right, you're getting your team probably 3 neutral items, 2 to 3 neutral items. Probably more so 2, right? And he farms it right before minute 7, which I just couldn't believe. I think players just aren't thinking about it, including the pros. But literally wait a little bit of time. You're getting yourself a royal jelly. Look how good that would be here. Look at his HP pool and mana pool, right? And so yeah, it ends up kind of going okay because the camp respawns. He gets to use the remainder of Eye of the Storm to farm up the medium creep, and he gets to head back into the lane afterwards. So obviously this wasn't bad. It is good. I like that he made that stack. It does end up paying off, and this whole sequence actually recovers him back to top of the CS chart and okay on net worth. Next up, he gets blessed by the most stupid thing in the game, which is the current state of regen runes. I really don't understand this rune. I feel like it should still get broken when you get hit. Like, honestly, it's way too OP in my opinion, because essentially what you see here is they're going to farm up this mid wave, right? He pops the regen rune in vision. Unfortunately, it doesn't show how much he's getting here from the regen rune. It's bugged, but it's usually about 40 to 50 HP regen and a good amount of mana regen as well. And it's broken because he's getting nuked by Zeus here, but he's just healing it off, right? It looks like he is Heart of Tarask because he essentially does 8 minutes into the game. I mean, that's barely an over-exaggeration, right? It really is barely an over-exaggeration. As he heals back up to 900 health, gets hit by the tower, he's just tanking the tower. I mean, it's stupid stuff, and they pick up a double kill. Runes are the name of the game for the mid lane. You know, on these high-tempo heroes, these heroes that like to go in, the Embers, Storm, Void, Puck, right? I mean, most of the mid-hero pool, runes are just OP. Frankly, it's all mids, but especially these types of heroes. The next play that was cool is he used Eye of the Storm, or at least the remainder of that fight, to nuke up some of the enemy stacks, which was really efficient. He actually ended up, I think, accidentally stacking for them, which is kind of funny, not that it matters that much. And then he even drags this wave over to finish off the remaining skeletons, clear up the wave. It's very efficient. And also in terms of items, couple things to note. Safety bubble, I'm sure you guys all know by now. Broken ass item. Why is this item still in the game? I don't know. Is it going to get nerfed next patch? I sure hope so. It's really stupid. Raindrops are very important. Backpack clarity. All of this is necessary. If you don't have these items, you will get low on mana. You will not be able to either take a certain fight, defend a certain tower, or do a certain smoke. Ends up TPing top here. The enemy team overextends, and they have a lot of stuns on the side of Team Falcons, right? Obviously, when you pick Razor, you want to try to pick it with stuns, and he walks down the Nature's Prophet. Also, something to keep in mind is he's maxing his E, right? This is the ability that gives you bonus movement speed, and then if you get hit by a spell, right, a targeted spell, or any auto attack, you have the chance to proc in an AoE up to 3 targets and deal damage and slow them. Now, what's really crazy about Marlene is his item build. I see very few people rush Yasha in general on Razor. Reason why is it doesn't make you tanky. It's also not the highest damage item. Typically, something like Falcon Blade is a lot more common because it gives you a bit of an HP pool and some mana regen to sustain your health. However, in the mid lane you have Bottle, and nowadays you have this stupid item of Safety Bubble, so I think he feels with the combination of these two things, or at least just Bottle, that he doesn't really need, right? He doesn't necessarily need an HP item, right? Safety Bubble plus Bottle plus 1 is probably just enough, and his raindrops unfortunately got broken, but that too. And this was really cool. At minute 11, he clears the wave, which is always what you should do, guys. If you're trying to become a top-level mid player, you should clear the wave and then make moves. Doing it in the opposite order is just inefficient. You're going to end up poor in the majority of games. It's going to be bad. It's almost always bad. But yeah, just using a ward here, with snaking, they run at the Furion, and I don't think I would have been confident to make this type of play, but I think he just assumes Naga's not going to be here, DK's not going to be here. I think he just feels confident that they can't really fight him at this point in the game. And this was the craziest part. He knows, because the Zeus just heavily jumped away from him, he knows that this is a 26-second cooldown, really long cooldown. He clips the Zeus with a Q, which slows, and then is able to drop the Eye of the Storm. He has a Quelling against Furion, which he was a bit slow to use, but I love the end of this sequence, right? He mans up to the Furion, does get TP'd on by the Dragonite, good TP from the Dragonite. However, he gets off another Q, and I love how he really buys time. Look at this kiting up, so good. Gets around the tree line, avoids the Marcy W, which obviously keeps him alive for a good amount of time, and that allows him to get really solid damage. I would have loved to see him stay in the tree line here and just get off a couple of autos on a Marcy, because then she would have died even faster. But yeah, love how he kited up there, bought some time, got off some more Eye of the Storm, and this ends up going really well for the side of Falcon as they overextend onto the Underlord and they kill off the Furion too. Yeah, and at this point, Falcon just understands they have this God Ward and they keep playing around this God Ward. And all good mid players have this killer instinct to play wards. So if you're a mid player, you gotta learn to play wards. A lot of mid players, they're like, oh, I got the killer instinct. I'm Topset. I'm Marlene. I'm a killer. But the reality is you just run into no vision and often you're gonna die. You're gonna lead your team into death. But if you can have the killer instinct off wards, you're going to be a more calculated killer, a more calculated assassin, and that's how you should try to look at it. And on that same note, a couple minutes later, literally only 3 minutes later after pushing out a bunch of mid waves, they took a fight bottom, which just ended up being a draw, but he comes to this ward alone, like literally completely alone, but Marcy has no way to defend herself. She can't rebound off of anything in this area. He knows that, and he gets another kill. And so yeah, his presence in this bot side of the map has been absolutely crushing. It has enabled the Underlord to completely free farm, or close to completely free farm as well. And so this movement, these movements from Marlene have been super game winning, and I can see why this guy is like rank 5 in Europe. And then finally, the end of game, they make another movement to the bot side of the map. However, I don't think this one has to do much with his timing, or even really a ward, because they're gonna dive the tower. It's not like you can really have a ward there. I guess you could, but it's highly unlikely and they don't, right? So what he does well here is just identifying his teammates' timing. I think maybe Amar is calling it. That's probably what is happening here. Amar is probably saying, I got max E, I got a pipe coming on Courier, it's literally about to get to him, let's go. let's just make the play. And I agree, because DK will do 0 damage, Zeus will deal minimal damage because of the pipe, and Naga is not ready. This hero ain't ready compared to Sven? Like, if Sven shows up, this guy has 2.3k HP, can click Warcry, giving his team bonus armor, and has a stun, right? I mean, it's not even comparable. So, they know their timing, they know the enemy carry, how weak Naga is at this point in the game, especially against, like, Underlord and Sven, right? And Lion, right? You have Lion too with Mana Drain. I mean, he doesn't have Shard yet, but you get the point. So they end up diving bottom here, and it seems like one of those psycho pub dives, but it's not. It's not because of the Naga, and it's not because of the pipe. And this is what good players do. They understand timings better than others, right? They don't just force random plays. When people see pros dive, they think, oh, it's probably just random. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's just like, I want to kill this guy, right? But a lot of the time it's like, okay, this hero can't show up. That guy doesn't have TP. I got a rune. My offlaner hit pipe. We just finished a BKB, right? It's things like this that enable you to be consistently good. And in pubs, you want to make plays by paying attention to your teammates' timings because they probably won't call it. But if you watch for them, you can make plays around them without them even saying anything. And I do that all the time in pubs. It has helped me get to 11,000 MMR by basically being the coordinator of all timings. And so yeah, they end up taking a fight. The pipe is too much. You can see Crit gets hit by Thunder God's Wrath at a low HP pool, takes 0 damage because of the pipe, right? Completely negates the Zeus ult. And yeah, ends up being a really, really easy engagement, right? They just wipe through the enemy side. When Razor gets to go alone, right? When he gets to do his thing, he just kills everyone and gets an ultra kill. All right, and finally for the game ending sequence, he picks up BKB, then he's gonna go Shard. By the way, Pupil's Gift just gives this hero a huge mana pool and a ton of strength, so makes you be able to run in. It's probably better if you can get Specialist Array, but he probably didn't get it, otherwise he would have taken it. He's going for a Shard next. The Shard increases the cast range of your W, so you can link people from really far. It makes it really hard to break the link. And then on top of that, it pulls the enemy towards you, or it pulls you to the enemy. It does both at the same time. But yeah, okay. He's got his BKB. This is the build. You don't need to buy damage items on Razor. Your W and your ult are significant damage if you stay alive, so you just optimize that, right? You don't need to do anything crazy. No Daedalus, no Shadowblade, no Armlet. Not that I thought you guys were going to buy Armlet on Razor, but just in case you were thinking about buying Armlet on Razor, now you probably won't. Okay, so they make a smoke play. I really like this move, and I like the patience they have, right? They go from the top side of the map, they go all the way around. I don't even know who they were exactly looking for. You have to imagine it's DK, because Naga could Song. Oh, Song was on cooldown, maybe they knew that. But they also see the illusions bottom, so Naga's probably not here. So they're definitely hunting this DK, who's at the point in the game where he wants to farm, right? This guy wants to hit his next timing. Wow, he's really saving gold. Is he saving buyback? Why would you have 3.7k gold as DK? Okay, besides the point, but they have a lot of patience here, end up finding the kill, link with the ulti, and they get the job done. And then honestly, the craziest part about this game was this death from low. He's been playing so good this tournament, like this guy's clearly a beast. Every replay I watch, he's like so damn consistent. But he ends up just like walking, I mean, they knew they were top. I think because Underlord and Sven made a play bottom, he just sort of assumed he was fine, and Marlene hits him with a smiley face. And honestly, that is a pretty bad death. Like for a pro player, dying like that is a little cringe. It's a little cringe. All right, and then for his final item, he picks up Satanic and then was gonna go Refresher. Essentially what you do, you skip your 10 talent. He did not take Spell Lifesteal at level 10. I think he took it at level 16. At level 15, you take Static Link Steals Armor. You can take damage, but clearly his vision on this hero is to stay alive with Eye of the Storm. And I respect it, because if you stay alive with level 20 Eye of the Storm, you will kill people. When you get Refresher and you have 2 level 20 Eye of the Storms, which is the interval, you just kill everyone. And with the Static Link Steals Armor per second, you can steal up to 10 armor, right? And you're stealing it away from the enemy, which is obviously incredible, right? Because you're reducing armor with your ult and your W. So this 15 talent is nasty good. It's essentially stealing damage, and if you link a hero like Zeus or Furion or Marcy who have bad armor, you will eviscerate them due to this talent. So definitely the better talent, because Razor's armor is also not that good. 19, 30 minutes in with this many items is pretty underwhelming, right? That's why sometimes you'll see AC. But with this 15 talent, you don't need an armor item as much anymore. You just buy your shards so that the link doesn't break, and you link them up. But alright, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'm out. Peace. And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the Game Leap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.